The evolution of hypnosis, ancient temples to modern therapy. Welcome to my first deep dive into the history of hypnosis. It's a common misconception that hypnosis is a modern invention. In reality, we've been harnessing altered states of mind for millennia. As early as 1027 AD, the Persian scholar Avicenna was documenting these practices. Think about the sleep temples of Egypt and Greece. These were dedicated spaces designed to reduce external stimuli, allowing priests to induce trance-like states, which would diagnose and treat ailments of various issues. Whether it was the Greeks honouring Asclepius or the Druids in ancient Europe, the core concept has always been the same: using tone, repetition, and focus to facilitate healing. Next, we'll see how the Renaissance brought a more systematic approach to these ancient practices. The Renaissance and animal magnetism. Moving into the Renaissance, we see a shift towards more systematic studies. The physician Paracelsus began experimenting with magnets, laying the groundwork for what would follow. The most famous figure of this era is Franz Mesmer. He developed the theory of animal magnetism, suggesting that an invisible magnetic fluid flowed through the body and that illness was caused by blockages in this flow, which may sound familiar to those interested in chakras and energy healing and the aura of our beings. But while his magnetic treatments were controversial, Mesmer made a crucial discovery. He eventually realized he didn't need the magnets at all, and the effect was coming from the interaction itself, a precursor to understanding the power of suggestions. This realization would lead to even more profound discoveries, as we'll see next. Discovery of lucid sleep and communication. One of Mesmer's students, the Marquis de Puysegur, took her practice a step further. He discovered that patients in a deep trance, which he called lucid sleep, could actually talk and interact, unlike the convulsive crises Mesmer often induced. However, he noticed a strange phenomenon. When they woke up, they had no memory of what happened. This was a pivotal moment because it shifted the focus from the magnetizer's power to the patient's internal subconscious state, their beliefs, and their core intentions. This shift was crucial for the next major figure in our story, who truly legitimized the field. James Braid, the father of modern hypnotism. If there's one person who legitimized hypnosis for the medical world, it's James Braid. He hated the mystical occult associations of mesmerism, so Braid coined the term hypnosis, from the Greek god of sleep, hypno, or hypnos. Though he later realized it wasn't actually sleep, but the name stuck. By publishing Neurophyphenology in 1843, he proved a scientific framework that inspired generations of doctors to look at trance as a physiological and psychological tool rather than magic. His work set the stage for incredible practical applications, which we'll explore next. Hypnosurgery and the Esdale scale. While Braid was theorised in Scotland, James Esdale was putting hypnosis to the ultimate test in India. Before the invention of chemical anesthetics like ether or chloroform, surgery was a terrifying and often fatal ordeal. Esdale used hypnosis to perform hundreds of major operations. The results were undeniable. Mortality rates dropped from 50% to just 8%. Which, to put into perspective, if you were preparing for surgery and the doctor or surgeon performed a coin toss and said, heads, you're going to live, tails, you're going to die, you wouldn't have a lot of faith in the medical industry. So the fact James Esdale was able to reduce that bad percentage rate to 8 was absolutely incredible. His legacy lives on in the Esdale scale, and his work is the foundation for modern hypnosurgery and pain management techniques we use today. This incredible success would continue to shape the understanding of hypnosis, leading to new schools of thought. Enter the Nancy School. After seeing the incredible physical results of hypnosurgery, the focus shifted to the mind itself. In the late 19th century, the Nancy School in France became the center of the hypnotic world. They moved away from the idea that hypnosis was a special state and argued it was all about suggestion. One famous member, Emile Coué, introduced the idea that our imagination is far more powerful than our conscious will. And if you imagine you can't do something, no amount of willpower will ever make it happen. This school was so influential that even Sigmund Freud travelled there to study, though he eventually moved away from hypnosis to develop psychoanalysis, which he's more commonly known for. This emphasis on suggestion paved the way for even more nuanced approaches. Milton Erickson and the indirect approach. Following Nancy School's insights into suggestion, Milton Erickson revolutionized how we think about applying it. Fast forward to the 20th century and we meet the most influential hypnotherapist of the modern era, Milton Erickson. Unlike his predecessors who gave direct commands like, "You are getting sleepy," Erickson was subtle. He used metaphors, stories, and indirect suggestions, which, as myself as a hypnotherapist, move towards quite naturally and subtly in the face-to-face clients. He believed the subconscious mind was a reservoir of strength. His work during World War II treating post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD, proved that hypnosis could be flexible and it's highly individualized. It's especially effective for deep psychological healing, like trauma or regression. But while Erickson was the master of the indirect, another figure brought a different, equally powerful approach. Dave Ellman and modern clinical hypnotherapy. While Erickson explored the indirect, Dave Ellman brought a direct, no-nonsense approach to clinical hypnotherapy. He trained thousands of doctors and dentists, and Ellman's definition is still widely used. Hypnosis is a state where selective thinking is established. He showed that you don't need hours to induce a deep trance. It can be done in minutes or even seconds, which is incredibly convenient in the medical industry. His no-nonsense approach helped bridge the gap between the therapy room and the medical industry. His book, and personally one of my favourites, Hypnotherapy, remains a foundational text for many practicing hypnotherapists and the like. These varied approaches highlight how far hypnosis has actually come. So, the legacy and the future of hypnosis. Where we are today. All these incredible pioneers. Hypnosis has come a long way from the sleep temples of Egypt. It is now a respected, evidence-based tool used in everything from surgery to sports psychology. It has birthed and influenced fields like neuro-linguistic programming, or NLP for short, and solution-focused therapy, both of which will go into more detail in future videos. As we continue this series, we'll explore how these historical foundations allow us to help make people experience profound changes and become their best version of themselves